What is going on, Switch leaders? We got lots to talk about in this Switch leader video. Here's what you need to know. For content, over the next couple of weeks, we're going to be finishing up our message series, A Letter to Young Leaders, this Wednesday night. Then next Wednesday, we'll not be having Switch, so make sure you find yourself setting up time this week with your small group to meet outside of the building, whether that's at a bowling alley, y'all are hanging out. Just make sure you have two adult leaders present with you. If you don't know who they are, your co-leader and or your team leader, your coach, whoever it might be that wants to support and come alongside of you and build a fun experience for our students outside of the walls of our church. We'll be up in Oklahoma at a staff meeting, so it'll be a really good opportunity for you guys to take time with your students outside the walls of our church. And then after that, we'll be back February 5th for Switch Bowl. It's going to be a really big opportunity for students to invite, so make sure you're reminding your students to invite. We're doing invite challenges, all of the fun stuff. And then after that, we're going to be heading into a message series that's 6 weeks long about relationships. What do godly relationships look like? First, our relationship with Jesus. Then we have our friendships. We have our relationships with our family. And then we have romantic relationships. So we're going to be talking about and diving into the way that God wants to be in the center of all of those relationships, including our relationship with Him. So we're super excited about that. I know a lot of our students have been looking forward to that. But that is about as much as you need to know for right this second when it comes to the content. What I really want to talk about is two big things. So one, how are we creating a relational and safe place at Switch? One of those being building relationships, right? So you don't have, my hope is that when you have a student come into your group, or when you meet a student on Wednesday night, that isn't the only time that you see them. That wasn't the only time that you talk to them, right? Hopefully for you and your best friends, that you don't just see them when you see them, right? We follow up with our friends, we follow up with our students, and that's what we're going to maintain as we want to retain students and make sure that they feel safe, needed, known, and loved. That when you don't see your student on a Wednesday night, man, reach out to them, see how they're doing. Let them know that you missed them and that the small group conversation was great and you can't wait to see them next week. The fortune is in the follow-up, right? They have the opportunity to follow up with students in the same way that we want to be followed up with as well. So making sure that we're creating a relational place and then a safe place. So maybe some of you are noticing that we're starting to get bigger small groups, meaning that we're going to be splitting up small groups because what we want to do is create an opportunity to have a safe place for students to be able to talk and maybe not be talked over or talk in front of a group that's 20 students, but instead a group that is 5 or 10. So make sure that we're realizing that we're keeping the vision in front of us, right? For a first-time student, how are they going to be welcomed into the walls of our church, but also into a small group setting? Because it can be intimidating, right? Showing up at a random life group, we have the opportunity to make it the safest place it can be. Your coaches, your team leaders will talk to you about that if that is the case for your small group. And we're going to lead the way with a vision. As long as there's one student who does not know Jesus, we're going to have the opportunity to meet them exactly where they're at and have the most safe, most relational place waiting for them so that they can be loved, seen, known, and cared for by us and by God. And then last but not least, we are going to be changing up the parking. So what that's going to look like, everything will look the exact same for leaders and for high school students. So when you go into the night, right, you park in the front or the south side of the building, everything will be the same. Now for pickup, it will be a little bit different. Parents are going to be going around, they're going to be going around the building, but we're going to be making sure that all parents are not parking in the high school and leader parking area, and that they're going into the line. We'll have leaders manning that. But if you guys have questions with that, what that looks like, we'll also talk a little bit about it on Wednesday, but it shouldn't affect too many of you. What we will be doing is manning it and policing it. So we will not allow students who did not drive out the south doors. They will go out. For some of you, think of it as like the back doors, the north side of the church, and they're going to have their parents waiting for them there. And then there's going to be some leaders who are manning that as well. But if you have any questions with any of that, and we're super excited for this week to wrap up our message series. If y'all have any questions, anything like that, make sure you reach out to your coach, myself, Pastor Jalen, and we will take care of you. Man, we're super excited for this week at Switch. We'll see you guys. Make sure we wear our Switch Leader shirts, huddles at 6:15, and we will see you there. Peace.